The task of writing secure smart contracts is much more difficult than writing secure programs in a different context. Your code is open source, so a lot of what we were doing with Move in the early days was, how do we do on-chain compliance? How do we write code that we're 100% sure is going to be safe because we know it's going to be managing money? When you look at security issues in other smart contract programming languages, there are two things that I think come up again and again that we prevent by construction in Move on Suite. So the first one is reentrancy. The root cause of reentrancy is that you can have what's called dynamic dispatch, where within a smart contract, you have a function whose definition is not known in advance to the smart contract developer. This basically gives an attacker a blank check to fill in that empty space with whatever code they want. And so as someone trying to write safe code, it's very difficult to program against this because you don't know what that code is going to do. It might affect your state or your objects or your assets in some way that is very tricky to anticipate. With Move, we have no reentrancy by construction. Every time you call a function, the code that it's calling is statically known. This makes it very easy to write predictable code. This makes it very easy to reason about your code. And this eliminates one of the biggest sources of hacks. The second thing is access control checks. And the most common policy for access control is that you want to say, oh, this has an owner and only the owner should be able to touch this or send a transaction that's modifying it, or these sorts of policies. A very common source of vulnerabilities elsewhere is you just forget these checks. So in Sui, you never have to write those checks because objects have native metadata, and one of the most important pieces of metadata is the owner of the object. So the owner can be a couple of different things. It can be a single address. This is the most common case, and that's what lets us avoid that common class of checks. This is the most important thing for smart contract programmers. Every time we're adding a feature or doing something new, we ask ourselves, what are the things that could go wrong with this? And can we design it in a way that just takes them off the table entirely, makes them impossible for developers to do? Just make sure the safety is always the first thing.